I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. Before we get started, right off the bat, who's got CAP CRAMP PTSD? Let's see a show of hands. I do. I think, if you've had CAP cramps before, you have a wicked healthy respect for them. There's nothing quite like it. So I was cramping yesterday, and I'll tell you, I didn't prep properly. So in the comments, there were so many comments that made me realize I need to do another video like this. There's so many new chili heads, and I have done this video several times in 6,000 videos. You got to figure I would have talked about it at some point, but where to find it? So we need to talk about CAP cramps. First of all, before we go into anything, the first rule of thumb, and this is just like the cardinal sin: don't eat anything hot on an empty stomach. And that is really the name of the game. Before we get into the CAP cramps, I want to read some comments from the bus. First and foremost, Ben Thomas, TK8TL, for being first. Thank you for having your notification on. All right. I have an asthma attack right now. I took my inhaler right before I push the button. This one is from Slayer, 7862. So the cramps go away. I love eating the peppers, but the cramps are a killer. Thought my rib cage was going to bust out my back the first time I ate a Carolina Reaper. I love the heat. I love eating them and cooking with them, but I stopped because of the cramps. I gave just one of your tubes of corn nuts to a buddy, only a single corn nut, and he was ruined for the rest of the night because of cramps. I felt bad for a second, but when I eat a pepper or try some tincture, the cramps came in waves for me. There you go. I thought it was over, and I was so happy, but nope. Second wave came in. Repeat. You guessed it. Just have to fight through it and just build a tolerance according to what you're saying. You got any advice to build up tolerance quicker? Here's the deal. Pepperology is one of the categories in the playlist, and there's a lot of ways to increase your tolerance. And I had somebody asked recently, the only pepper that I can get are jalapeno and habanero. And they said I can only go so far with the habanero. Well, I want you to think about this. Let's say two friends both start Chase the Heat at the exact same time, and all they have are habaneros. That's it. And one guy gets to a point where he can eat a habanero, no problem. No trouble in the stomach, the mouth burn is fine. But his friend can eat 10 habaneros. Who's got a stronger tolerance? But they're only eating habaneros, right? So you can really do a lot with your tolerance, regardless of what you have at your disposal. But we're going to talk, the CAP cramps are a drag. Number 3, this comes from Derek, 4311. He was talking about my CAP cramps. I hope they settle down soon. Fear of CAP cramps kind of limits how far I push myself. Who does that? Who thinks like that? Can you imagine the things I would do if I didn't have to worry about CAP cramps? I mean, for real. It's insane. I rarely push myself to the point of an endorphin dump. I have a jalapeno plant in my garden this year, and I ate one that burned me every bit as much as my Kangstar Lemon Starburst. I don't know if that's enough to be considered a rogue jalapeno. I would say so, but it was way hotter than any of the others. I would say it would be. The CAP cramps are something that keeps people away. It's a drag. This wasn't about CAP cramps. I just like this comment. Listen to this. I actually want to start eating peppers. I hadn't had an interest until I came across your channel. Great insight and info about peppers. And I'm definitely nowhere near ready to eat a whole pepper, but I want to know, but I do want to eat them, and I really want to have an interest in knowing more about peppers. Well, Get Busy, it's his name, Get Busy. He came to the right place. The next one, just a couple more. It's from Nick Jones, 2395. Hey, Johnny, I'm a big fan. Getting some Pure Evil 9 million Scoville tincture. I'm nervous to try it. How much do you think I would need for an endorphin rush? Also, on a side note, I did 5 drops of Wicked Nightmare on an empty stomach today. I had the worst cap cramps. LOL. No endorphin rush. But the thing is that the tincture had an awful flavor. That's hard for me to handle, even more so than the heat. I don't mind tincture, Nick Jones, but I don't like the taste of extract. They're very different tasting. First of all, how much should you try? It's such a I have no idea where your tolerance is. So I have seen people take a toothpick, because if it's I'm not sure. Oh, it's just a tincture. If it's just a drop, you're okay. If it's the tincture or if it's from Pure Evil, Plutonium 9 from Ashley Food Company, I've seen people put a toothpick in it and get sick from that. So listen, 9 million is it's a scary place. So just be really, really careful, I mean, cap cramps are a drag. We're going to talk about them, how to prevent them, though. All right, props, man. Cap cramps are the worst. I thought I was having a heart attack. One time scared the hell out of me, but I can't stop chasing the heat. Keep up the great content, please. Thank you, Cash Shane, 9467. And this is we have 2 more. Yeah, the last one's hilarious. I saved a good one for last. But this is a good one, too. The Angry Cheeto. I only started eating any kind of spicy food about 8 months ago. Once I started eating slices of habanero with my dinner, just slices of it. I was getting some pretty rough stomach pains. But it's amazing because I grew lots of peppers this summer and I was eating slices of scorpion, reapers, ghosts, etc. I really don't seem to get cap cramps anymore. It's nice it's a nice feeling, actually. I think my gut is finally starting to get used to it. We are going to talk so much about that, but you hit it on the head. And the last one is the Angry Pirate. This is just so funny. I once had the police pick me up with cap cramps in the street, walking my dog after doing 9 million extract. They thought that I was a crackhead lying on the floor, clinging to someone's railing in the street. Took me and the dog home, so bonus, he said. And I said, I don't mean to laugh, but wow. Then he followed it up with, and I found it very funny at the time too. Just the cramps had to make me wait for the funny side to come, through. I do have a picture somewhere of me and my dog in the back of a police car because of the heat. Listen, I read those to you because there are some that are watching this that have never had cap cramps. And I'm telling you, I have a friend who has competed has done a lot of competitions. 4 children. She said that cap cramps are worse than labor pains. You guys, this is my new thing. Crystal Light, raspberry, green tea. Oh, so good. Right. So cap cramps are when you overdo it. All right. Now let me explain to you why it happens. It happens because the tolerance in your mouth is going to build quicker than the tolerance in your stomach. And then where it happens most, I'm telling you, this is just a gut. Since we're talking about guts, this is my gut on this. I'll bet you most of the cap cramps that happen come from people eating wings at a wing place. They eat something, they get a hot version, they eat some, and their friends are there. Usually there's some drinking involved. You'll eat a wing, and the friend will say, oh, yeah, I can't believe you can eat that. And you're like, oh, it's no problem. I can eat another one. And you're finding the moment because the tolerance in your mouth builds quicker. So you're like, man, I can take this. And then your stomach has to process it. And it takes a lot more time for your stomach to build a tolerance. I wrote in a comment today, the very beginning of pod season, this pepper at the beginning of pod season would give me cramps. Big time cap cramps. Prepped or not, I'd get cramps from eating this. And I did. Beginning of pod season, that always happens to me. By the end of pod season, I can eat 6 of those and not have a problem at all. Pretty close to an empty stomach. I mean, you get to listen. If you ended up on a desert island, there were crates of all you could have were fresh 7-pot Primos, and that was the only food source. Do you think you'd starve to death? In a month, you'd be eating those things like good and plenty. You'd be knocking them back. You'd build a tolerance to it. It's just a matter of building a tolerance. A great analogy is the gym. Nobody that can bench press a Volkswagen started out that way. They walked into a gym feeling kind of silly, or in the garage, when no one's looking. And they slowly added weight. And you can do it and not hurt yourself. You can do it and not hurt yourself. To emphasize that point, I'm going to talk again about my friend Justin Rummel. Dizzy Dragon located the video, and it'll be in the description box. But that was a rogue pepper. But I'm telling you, that one pepper that we eat in this video gave Justin cap cramps that were crippling to him. He's a tough guy. I'm not knocking him. The reason I bring it up is he's an intelligent shillyhead. That was the first time he had ever experienced cap cramps. He was screaming. I was like, what do you he didn't know what was going on. Oh, I said, dude, it's just cap cramps. You'll be all right. But he's a belt. Listen, New Zealand champion, and he never had cap cramps because he kept a steady pace at it. You know what I mean? You just got to push yourself, eat a little bit hotter, or just more of what you are eating that's hot, and you can drive your tolerance up. Okay, now how to stop it, or there's no way to prevent them completely. You can do what you can to minimize them. There's only so much you can do, and I'm just being honest with you. But remember the first rule: don't ever eat anything spicy on an empty stomach. I've done it. Everybody's done it. I did it. The second video on the channel here, I went to my buddy Vince's house. About 25 years I've known Vince. And I don't remember if I ate 5 and 2 or 7 and 2. I don't know if they were reapers or scorpions. I think they were a combination of reapers and scorpions. And I ate them on an empty stomach and didn't think a thing of it. And I went back home. I was fine. I laid down, and boy, all of a sudden I wasn't fine. I thought I was going to die. And cap cramps are bad. I've made 6,000 videos. Right now there are like 10 that stand out. Like just absolutely stand out as just horrific nights that were so difficult. In the comments, one person said they had cap cramps for 10 hours. One person had them for 16. I did one of the plutonium chugs where I chugged a whole vial of 9 million Scoville extract. That I had to heat enough to make it liquid because it's a paste. So I had to submerge it into boiling water. Anyway, when I drank that, the first wave of cramps came in and stayed for 16 hours. And then they left. And that's what we're going to talk about next, are the waves. And then I'm going to get into how to prevent them. I want to talk about the waves though. It's you know what? It's very similar to labor pains, but just in reverse. Think about this. A woman is having contractions. Here's where the baby is. The contractions are small at first and they're far apart. And then they go closer. And as they get closer, they get bigger. And when they get really close, they're eating peppers is just the opposite. As soon as you eat it, you're just like that. And then the waves, so it's just the opposite. As they get further away, the waves drop. Sometimes, and I hope if you get cramps, and man, I thank God when this happens. I know some of you have, where you only get one wave, and it's like 5 or 10 minutes long, and then they're gone, and you're like, whew. But you can't celebrate too soon because the waves will come back. Extract will visit you more than once. Sometimes pods will do it, sometimes it won't. But extract likes to come back and visit you again and again and again. And it's bad. Tommy, I have a video of Tommy where it happened. He ate a orange medallion of Tom Broom's, and I put some extra drops of like 10 million. He cramped really bad, and I don't know what he was thinking, but for like 2 or 3 hours, I get near him trying to help him, like give him a towel or something. He was dying. He's like, get away from me. So after about 3 hours, he was kind of mellowing out a little bit, seemed a little bit more normal. I was watching TV. He comes in, he goes, we can laugh about it now. That's what he said. I said, you feel better? He goes, yeah, man. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, but it was killing me. So he sits down. We're watching TV, squirrels running around. I think she got in some catnip. And next thing I know, Tommy stands up, white as a sheet. He went, oh, no. Another wave? He went, yep. And that's the thing. If the first wave of that you get is a really, really bad one, when it goes away, don't celebrate yet. Don't celebrate yet, because if it's a really strong one, the first wave that comes through, you're probably going to get a second wave. All right, now let's talk about how to prevent it. Before you go eat something, let's say you're going to go eat wings. Prep first. I know if you're going to have wings for dinner, but you still have to have something in your stomach first. All right? Anytime you're going to eat something hot, prep first. That really bad one, I didn't eat anything, and I ate, that same night, by the way, Vince had to call 911. He thought he was having a heart attack. And that was scary because 4 months earlier, he had a heart attack. And I love the guy. I've known him for a long time, man. I've known him for longer than I haven't, practically. I think I have. I think I've known him longer than I haven't. Anyway, he thought he was dying and called 911. He said, it was funny, he said that they ran up he was on the top of the stair, landing of a stair, and they ran up there, the gurney, whatever, the stretcher. They said, what? They were going through a litany of questions of, what did you do? What could it be? Have you taken anything? He goes, well, I ate some peppers. They went, oh. And the second he said peppers, the urgency just left the room. Everybody's like, oh, forget it, it's peppers. It happens. Make sure you prep. So how to prep? There's a couple factors that are important. Number one, what is it you're prepping with? All right. Number two, timing of it. Let's talk first about what to prep with. I don't have a regimen. Some people have a specific thing they like to do. When I was in New Zealand, they had creamed corn. That's what they prepped with. In big contests, I don't prep at all because I don't have space to give up for prep food. I need to save that for a pepper. So I don't really prep during big contests. But starchy stuff is good, like a banana, peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, mashed potatoes, something starchy. With me, typically, once season is going and I'm in season and my tolerance is high, as long as I got something in my stomach, I'm going to be okay. But now, so it's critical you eat first if you're going to eat something hot. The next thing is when to eat. I remember I was at a show once. It was in America. I think it was. It may have been Newcastle. I don't remember. It was out of the country. It was either it was the Guildford Chili. It was somewhere in London or Newcastle. But somebody was there was a contest, and I said, "Did you prep?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "It's like 3 o'clock or something." I said, "What'd you have?" He said, "Bacon and eggs or an egg sandwich." I said, "Do you just have that?" He said, "No, for breakfast." I'm like, "For breakfast?" He thought that was prepping. Now I'm telling you, I'm just telling you because I care. If you're, let me just tell you how I like to do it. Okay, when I'm prepping for something that I need to prep for, in a perfect world for me, 15 minutes after I'm done prepping, I'm starting the contest. I'm starting to eat whatever it is I got to eat. 15 minutes after. Anything 30 minutes after, I'm starting to get nervous. I'm losing a bit of the effectiveness of, I think so. Listen, I have nothing to back it up, but, whatever's going on in my head. But I think that's what happens. Like I have had the experience where I prepped for something and we got delayed. And we got delayed and got delayed and got delayed. And by the time I did it, like an hour and a half had gone by, I know I hurt more. So timing of the prep is really important. You don't want to prep hours before your whatever it is you're eating, because if you do that, it's going to be horrible. All right, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody asked how long can they last, or how short are they? Listen, I've seen them. I've had them personally. Maybe 5 minutes is the shortest, and I don't even mind those. Like with me, as long as I'm under about a 5. Almost a 6, I can still function and do whatever I got to do. Like if I'm working, I'm writing, I'm playing guitar, whatever I'm doing, I can still pretty much do it. Once I get over 6 with calf cramps, I'm not having fun anymore and I can't really focus and I got to stop. I'm losing my ability to focus, and whatever work I'm doing is going to be shoddy work, so I just kind of shut it down when it's 6 or above. It's just kind of the way it is. And there, laying down is worse. We're going to talk tomorrow. We're going to talk about what happens when you do have it. But it's really important that you prep. I can't, It's the most important thing in the world. For everybody, I'll tell you what, if you've got, here's what I want everybody to do. Can you do this for me? Here's your homework. I'm going to read more comments, and we're going to do this one more time. Today was how to prevent it. And how to do that, make sure you prep starchy something, banana, peanut butter sandwich, something in your stomach. Whatever you do, what don't you do? Exactly. You don't eat anything hot on an empty stomach. It's a blueprint for an awful night. The night that I did that at Vince's house, I went home, went to bed, and I was up the entire night. Our walls were not that thin. And my son said, I could hear you groaning all night long. It sounded like you were dying, Johnny Jr. Listen, it was so bad. If you get bad cramps, they're, so you want to do what you can to avoid them. So prep well, make sure you prep well, and the timing is important. So I want everybody, here's your homework. Tomorrow we're going to talk about what do I do once they're happening, because there are things that you can do. Okay, we're going to talk about them. So what I want everybody to do, I want your most horrific, keep it family friendly, the most horrific capsaicin story you got. Try to keep it, don't make it too long, because I'm going to try to read a bunch of them. I'm going to probably pick 10 of them. So I want your most horrific, family-friendly capsaicin story. And tomorrow we're going to talk, tomorrow. We're going to talk about what to do when it's happening. All right, you're in the middle of it. What do you do next? Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for all the comments and questions. We're also going to talk about the rogue pepper. There's so many excellent examples of rogue peppers that I think it's worthy of doing the same kind of a thing with the rogue peppers. But for now, in the comment section, I want your worst cap cramp story, and we will take this up again tomorrow. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me. In the description box, all the normal stuff right here. You got my son, Johnny Scoville Jr. and the lifeboat. And up on top, pepperology and my hardest challenges. I think it's like 24 or 25 or 26 of them. But of the 575 challenges I've done, the hardest ones I've selected and put in the playlist. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat.